Welcome to the Specialist Instructional video for DPAS II. This is a companion to the printed guide for specialists. It provides an additional tool for learning the Delaware Performance Appraisal System too. Before we begin, let's learn how to use this video. If you are already familiar with the introduction, just skip to the next section. Ideally, the video should be watched with your DPAS II printed guide open for reference and note-taking. There are several ways to access the video, but it's best to load it onto your own computer, either from the DPAS II website or the DVD. Note that the videos are divided into short chapters so that individual topics can be viewed without searching through the whole video. To watch a video, click on the link to the video you want. The player will automatically open on your computer screen in either Windows Media Player or Apple QuickTime. There are slight differences between the player controls depending on whether you use QuickTime or Windows Media Player, but both have the same features. You can control the video with the play, pause, rewind, and fast forward buttons. Sliding the button on the progress bar moves you quickly to specific places in the video. The player time clock helps you mark a place if you want to review it later. Just note the time in your guide. To help you find your place in the guide, at the bottom of the video screen, guide page numbers are referenced, especially when there is additional material to view in the guide. That's it for the nuts and bolts. Let's move on to the subject matter. This video is divided into two main sections: components and the specific activities in the process, including forms, conferences, and observations. The Delaware Department of Education uses 7 categories to classify 29 specialist jobs. The list is on guide page 3, and the details about each specific job begin on page 82. Clients of specialists can include teachers, students, and families. The Respected Professional Development Program, based on the book Enhancing Professional Practice, A Framework for Teaching, 2nd edition, by Charlotte Danielson, is the conceptual basis of DPAS II. It has been modified by the Delaware DOE for a special emphasis on student improvement, the primary purpose of our professional development efforts. DPAS II for Specialists consists of 5 components: planning and preparation, professional practice and delivery of service, professional consultation and collaboration, professional responsibilities, and student improvement. Component 1, planning and preparation, includes the following 4 elements: designing coherent programs or services. The specialist designs activities and plans for the services that support the needs of the students or clients served. Demonstrating knowledge of best practice and models of delivery. The specialist uses practice and models of delivery that are aligned with local and national standards. Demonstrating knowledge of students or clients. The specialist shows knowledge of the needs and characteristics of the students or clients, including their approaches to learning, knowledge, skills, and interests. And demonstrating knowledge of resources. The specialist selects appropriate resources, either within or outside the school, that support the needs of students or clients. Component 1 is designed to show how specialists select and organize the delivery of services. More information about Component 1, including potential evidence used to demonstrate proficiency, is on pages 5 and 6 of your guide. Component 2. Professional practice and delivery of service includes these 4 elements. Creating an environment to support student or client needs. The specialist creates an environment in which student or client needs are identified and valued. Specialist and student or client interactions show rapport that is grounded in mutual respect. Demonstrating flexibility and responsiveness. The specialist has a repertoire of instructional or professional strategies and makes modifications to services based on needs of the students or clients. Communicating clearly and accurately. Verbal and written communication is clear and appropriate to students or clients' ages, backgrounds, needs, or levels of understanding. delivering services to students or clients. The specialist is responsive to the identified needs of the students or clients and meets standards of professional practice. The resources and materials are suitable and match the needs of the students or clients. The delivery of service is coherent. Guide pages 7 and 8 have more detail about the importance of Component 2 and examples of potential evidence that support it. Component 3. Professional consultation and collaboration includes collaborating with others. The specialist develops partnerships with school or district staff or external agencies to provide integrated services that meet student or client needs. Serving as a consultant to the school community. The specialist shares expertise with school staff to assist them in their work or to respond to school-wide issues, problems, or concerns. Providing resources and access. The specialist provides school, district, or external-based resources to appropriate staff, students, or clients, or gives information about the effective use of the resources. Maintaining standards of professional practice. The specialist adheres to his or her professional standards of practice, including issues surrounding confidentiality. See page 10 for additional notes about consultation and collaboration, including a list of potential evidence. Component 4. Professional responsibilities deals with activities related to specialist practice in these 4 areas. Communicating with families. The specialist shares information about district or school educational programs and expectations for student or client performance. The specialist develops a mechanism for two-way communication with families about student or client progress, behavior, personal needs, or concerns. Developing a record system. The specialist keeps student or client records relevant to their services and shares information with appropriate school personnel. Growing and developing professionally. The specialist chooses and participates in professional development that is aligned with his or her professional needs and aligned with the needs of the school, district, or students. Reflecting on professional practice. The specialist engages in reflective thinking as an individual, as a team participant, or as a school and community member with the goal of improving professional practice and delivery of service. Pages 12 and 13 of your guide include additional notes on Component 4 and a list of potential evidence. Component 5, Student Improvement, is the primary purpose of DPAS II. Its 4 elements are showing student improvement. The specialist uses school or district goals from the school or district improvement process to set his or her annual data-driven goals for student improvement. Data used to establish goals shall include school or district accountability data, state assessment data where available, and other assessment data where available. Using assessments to promote student or client improvement. The specialist uses assessments related to his or her field of expertise that accurately measure progress towards the student improvement goal or goals. Measuring student improvement. The specialist has specific measurable evidence to show progress towards or attainment of a goal or goals for student improvement. Reflecting on student improvement. The specialist reflects on the goal-setting process and outcomes for the purpose of continuous professional improvement and shares student improvement information with other staff as appropriate. Pages 14, 15, and 16 in the Specialist Guide explore in detail the importance of Component 5, the assessment process, and potential evidence of accomplishment in student improvement. This ends our overview of DPAS II's conceptual components. Section 2, the process section, covers the specific activities required by DPAS II and how they are scheduled. DPAS II is a continuous process of professional improvement, which may entail a 1 or 2 year cycle. The time periods are suggestions, and you should refer to the guide for specific language regarding when any part of this process must be completed. First, we'll view the list of activities, then look at each in detail. The list is on page 17, under Process at a Glance in your guide. There are 3 main categories for activities: completion of forms, conferences, and observations. The forms are the goal form, pre-observation form, formative feedback form, professional responsibilities form, summative evaluation form, recommendations for an improvement plan and improvement plan form. The conferences are goal-setting conference, pre-observation conference, post-observation conference, summative evaluation conference, and improvement plan conference if needed. The final activity group is observation. Depending on your status and experience, observations can range from 1 every year to 2 or more each year. We'll see more detail about observation later. These 3 groups of activities, forms, conferences, and observations, are spread through the school year, generally beginning in the first month and ending in the last. Since every specialist participates in the evaluation process, the scheduling was made flexible, providing a wide window to complete the activities. The DPAS II appraisal cycle is on page 18 of the guide. It provides a general illustration of the activities and when they should occur throughout the year. The specific activities are grouped within 4 topic areas: goal setting, observation and feedback, professional responsibilities reporting, and summative evaluation. Check guide pages 19 through 21 for an overview of the specific activities required in each topic area. Let's look closer at each activity, beginning with number 1, goal setting. Setting goals for student improvement is an important part of every educator's work. Clear, measurable goals provide a roadmap for specialists and students and enable specialists to plan lessons and activities that help to ensure achievement of the goals. Goals serve 2 purposes in the DPAS II system. Specific goals inform the planning and preparation component and guide the specialist development of a plan for learning for all students. They also help integrate all 5 components of DPAS II into a cohesive system. The first activity is school-wide goal setting. Goals should be aligned with the district strategic plan, the school improvement plan, and perhaps team goals. The specialist and evaluator should discuss if the goals are realistic and measurable, how the educator plans to gather data, what the data will look like, and if the goal has been met. In some cases, optional team goal-setting meetings will set student improvement goals for grade levels, departments, or curricular teams. Individual specialist goal setting establishes personal student improvement goals derived from the school or team goals. The specialist goal form is the first form required by DPAS II. Completing this form is a 2-part process. The first part is done in the fall of each year, the second in the spring. When filled out as a Microsoft Word document, the text input space automatically increases when needed, including adding more pages. We recommend completing all forms in the Word document format. The forms may also be printed and the paper version filled out by hand. Additional blank pages may be added if you need more space. After the specialist completes the first part of the goal form and submits it to the evaluator, they meet and briefly discuss student improvement goals. Page 24 of the guide includes possible evaluator questions for this conference. Throughout the year, specialists should monitor progress toward goal achievement and gather appropriate evidence. At any point, the specialist may request a meeting with the evaluator to discuss preliminary findings. In the spring, the specialist completes Part 2 of the goal form, analyzing students' progress, and provides a copy to the evaluator. The specialist may attach artifacts as evidence of student improvement. Artifacts could include student projects, records of parent contact, and evidence of collaborative work with colleagues. The evaluator uses this information to provide feedback on Component 5, Student Improvement, during the summative evaluation. While goal achievement is desirable, total attainment is not required for a satisfactory rating on Component 5. Emphasis is on reflecting on practice, understanding, and adjusting to accomplish improvement. At the beginning of the next school year, Specialists will review this information and consider follow-up as part of the process of setting student improvement goals for the coming year. Next, we'll review the second area of DPAS II, observation and formative feedback. Observation provides a view of specialist practice and the opportunity to collect information to assess performance. It's like a snapshot of practice. In some cases, one observation is sufficient to clearly see the specialist practice, but sometimes multiple snapshots are necessary. Guide page 25 includes a list of observation key concepts. Pause the video now to review them. An especially important concept is whether an observation is announced or unannounced. In some cases, the specialist knows that the evaluator will observe in their practice, but in others, there is no advance notification. The quality of practice should be consistent in both situations. An announced observation is a means for the specialist and evaluator to discuss the context and plans for the lesson or activity to be observed prior to its implementation. It is strongly recommended that the first observation be announced. An unannounced observation is an unscheduled opportunity for an evaluator to watch a specialist in action. The evaluator relies solely on direct observation to examine the specialist's practice during the observation period. Specialists should conduct business as usual in their environment. Next, let's look at the actual observation activities. In the case of an announced observation, the first step is to complete the pre-observation form and give it to the evaluator, who will schedule the pre-observation conference as close as possible to the observation. The pre-observation conference should be held in the specialist environment where supplemental materials are available and the space can be examined. During the conference, the specialist and evaluator discuss the practice to be observed, including how it fits the specialist's overall goal, if applicable, the standard or standards the practice is designed to address, any unique issues the students or clients present, or other related issues. Now, onto the actual observation. Evaluators should spend at least 30 minutes for the observation. Looking at the practice, the evaluator should observe how the students or clients interact with each other and the environment. They can even ask questions to individuals. Some evaluators take notes by hand, others use laptops. Soon after the observation, a post-observation conference should be held. The post-observation conference provides an opportunity for the evaluator and the specialist to discuss the observation and the specialist's performance. This conference should also be held in the specialist's environment to facilitate access to supplemental information and discuss the organization of the space. It is a valuable opportunity for professional development where educators can freely converse about building skills necessary for student improvement. On Guide page 30, you can view a list of possible evaluator questions for the post-observation conference. The final step in the observation area is completing the formative feedback form. After the conference, the evaluator writes a narrative on the formative feedback form that describes the specialist's performance based on the observation, discussion, and any additional material. The narrative should simply verify what was discussed at the conference, with the aim of helping to plan future goals and professional growth options, and reflect on present practice. More details about the formative feedback form are available on page 31 in the guide, including a process for responding to the form if the specialist disagrees with any feedback or wishes to add additional information. This wraps up the observation portion of the process. Pause the video now and review this section, including the possible evaluator questions for the post-observation conference. Professional responsibilities deals with most activities outside of the primary work duties. They include communicating with students and families, maintaining student records, pursuing personal professional development, working with school staff on whole school improvement. This part of DPAS II consists only of completing the professional responsibilities form. That should be done by January 31st. The information provided on the Professional Responsibilities Form and any additional information presented during the summative conference is used by the evaluator in the summative evaluation. Additional points are: responsibilities may change during the appraisal cycle, and specialists may need to update their activities. Professional responsibilities information may need to be reviewed when preparing for the summative conference. Providing artifacts and discussing other aspects of professional responsibilities are encouraged. The fourth and final area of the DPAS II process is summative evaluation. The summative evaluation occurs at the end of the evaluation cycle. It may be yearly or every other year, depending upon a specialist's experience and evaluation status. Using information from the observation process and additional evidence will determine a specialist's overall performance rating. The first step is the summative evaluation conference, followed by the completion of the summative evaluation form. At the summative evaluation conference, the evaluator shares overall impressions of a specialist's practice, as well as a summary of the specialist's performance as it relates to DPAS II's 5 conceptual components. It's an opportunity for a rich conversation between evaluator and specialist. Concepts can be clarified and additional information is welcomed. The purpose is to form and encourage professional development goals that support continuous professional growth. A productive summative conference involves compiling all of the evidence relevant to the specialist's performance that has been generated throughout the appraisal cycle. The evaluation conference may include follow-up discussions on goals, clarification of issues, and ways to collect data and other written documentation shared with the specialist during the course of the appraisal cycle. It may also begin the goal-setting process for the upcoming year. More details about the summative evaluation conference can be found beginning on guide page 34, including possible questions that may be asked by an evaluator. The evaluator will indicate during the conference the component ratings and the overall summative rating that will appear on the summative evaluation form. The summative evaluation form provides written feedback about the performance of the specialist related to all 5 components of DPAS II. Its content is based on evidence from observations, conferences, artifacts presented, and forms completed by both specialists and evaluators. Other evidence, including written communications to the specialist during the appraisal cycle, may be included. The summative evaluation form is a written record of the conversation during the summative evaluation conference, so there should be no surprises for the specialist when he or she receives it. The evaluation rating considers all 5 components in DPAS II. There is also space for a narrative basis for the rating. The evaluator also rates each component as satisfactory or unsatisfactory. On the last page, there is a space for commendations and/or recommended areas of growth. The overall evaluation rating considers all 5 components in DPAS II. The final summative evaluation is marked either effective, needs improvement, or ineffective. An explanation of the rating process and improvement plans are discussed in the next section of this video. The completed form should be given to the specialist within 15 days of the summative conference. If the specialist disagrees with any feedback on the summative evaluation form, he or she may add additional information and/or request a second conference to discuss their concerns. Now let's look closer at the ratings process. The first rating, effective, means that the specialist has received satisfactory ratings in at least 4 of the 5 evaluated components. Needs improvement means that the specialist has received 3 out of 5 satisfactory ratings. And ineffective means that the specialist has received 2 or fewer satisfactory ratings. Page 37 in your guide includes a detailed component and summative ratings chart that shows the follow-up activities for each summative rating. A pattern of ineffective practice chart appears on page 38. Now, we'll take a brief look at improvement plans. Improvement plans are developed to help specialists focus on areas where they need extra assistance. Several conditions can occur that require an improvement plan. For specific details, see Guide page 39. The process includes at least one meeting between the specialist and evaluator, completion of a recommendation for an improvement plan form, and then collaboratively completing the improvement plan form to develop the most effective plan possible. Both parties should ensure that the plan includes reasonable timelines, indicators of completion, and opportunities for discussing progress towards completion. Sometimes, a specialist will disagree with the evaluator's ratings and may file a challenge. It is desirable to resolve differences with the evaluator directly, but if that is not possible, there is a procedure available to challenge the feedback. See Guide page 41. This completes the DPAS II Instructional video for specialists. Remember, this video is available online and can be downloaded to any computer for personal review. The entire printed DPAS II guide for specialists is also available online for viewing or printing. The materials may be updated as requirements and regulations adjust for current educational conditions and trends. For more information on professional development opportunities and support, contact your local district or the Delaware Department of Education. We wish you the greatest success in your learning community and are happy to assist with your efforts toward professional development, continuous improvement, and quality assurance in Delaware public education.